Okay, if you've been watching my videos, you know I'm only trading the first hour this week because my mother is in town from Missouri and she's only going to be here till Saturday. So want to spend as much time as possible because she only comes down once, maybe twice a year. So that's what I'm doing. And this was pretty much about the time I left, right about here. I'm showing you the SPY. This was right around 10:20 when I said my goodbyes. And before I left, I did say, guys, if the SPY gets down around 182, I would be looking for stuff to buy because 182 is a spot on the daily chart that I fully expected buyers to step in. And look what happened. It went down. Actually went all the way down to 181. But look at if you scoot this line down in your mind to 182. Look, it didn't stay below there very long, and then look at the close. It just ripped higher. So here's what the daily looks like on the SPY now. And if I pan out, you can see why that 182 area, huge bounce here, here, here. And the important thing on these bounces is the shape, how quickly it got down to 182. That's where you get your best snapback bounces. If this had fallen 2 months ago and had been going sideways right above 182, then that's a whole different story. But when you're this extended to the downside to an area that's bounced off of, that's the time to get long, not short. So obviously I missed some good trades today. One thing that I had, I don't do this very often, one thing I had on the watch list last night, if you watched my video and it looked like this, I said I like Weight Watchers if it gets down, around this support, the bottom of the gap up here and the 200-day. And lo and behold, right around 1070 this morning is where I alerted the chat room on a 2-minute buy setup, and that held all day. So basically got the room in around 1070. I didn't get to participate because I knew I was leaving. But look at this. So you've got perfect intraday shape, right? It's speeding up or getting extended to the downside, massive volume right at the 200-day. Using 2-minute candles here, the entry would have been 1078, I believe, with a low of day stop. And look at this. Took a while to get going. But anywhere down there around that 200-day, by the end of the day, you're up a very nice percentage from the 1070 area to 1253. And then when you look at the daily now, you say, wow, that just touched the 200-day and right back up. The overall market did, pretty much the same reversal, which helped. But certainly is a good example of why you want to have a watch list and stocks that are down several days in a row, maybe recent passion to the upside, and then, you've got a place like the 200-day and the bottom of a range. A lot of people look at something like Weight Watchers and say, well, if it gets down below this 1076, it's into the gap. Yes, but again, just like I showed you on the SPY, it's gotten down to this area in a quick fashion. So you're more, and then with the 200-day there as well, you're more apt to find buying than selling. So I had some members email me that did really well on that one, thanking me, even though I was only there the first hour. And also gave them ZFGN. And there it is on an intraday basis. Called it out at 768, which was right about in here. The stop was in the 730s, never stopped out. And that one just was crazy. Went almost to 12, went to 1188. And that's a huge move. So there's a couple that, some people made some nice money off of in the chat. I did not. Again, my early exit kept me out of everything. I think I made $100 on one trade in the morning. That was it. But happy to get the emails and people that did well. Speaking of ZFGN, let's go into my watch list now for tomorrow. Certainly got to have this on watch. 24 million shares. Really beaten up stock that had good news this morning in the pre-market. Definitely want to watch that for a red to green, something along those lines. But the first pullback after the initial pop today gave a great trade, as it did in AEZS yesterday. So I want to watch that one. And speaking of AEZS, I'm going to put that, hard to see here. I'll have to zoom in. Let me get this line off here. I also want to watch this one. You had a nice volume spike, and now switched to 15-minute candles. In the afternoon, it came up near its early high. So this one's kind of interesting. It's simply over today's high, to be honest with you. Over 309, might continue to bounce higher. And that's one that had a really nice move for us yesterday morning before giving it back. I don't look at this daily chart and fall in love by any stretch. All right, it's kind of one of those obscure ones that moves nicely when it moves. So as a day trader, we've identified that and we're going to watch it. But it's not a chart I'm in love with. This LEI is actually pretty interesting. This is a thin stock. But you can see buyers are stepping in. 4 green candles in a row, meaning in 4 days in a row it's closed above its open, and some of those days were weak for the market. So If this can get back up, through 5, you've got the most recent high of 535. And look, you can see what it did back here. So that's just proof that it's a low float potential big mover. So in that one, if oil continues, let's glance at oil real quick. USO, nice little hammer candle. If oil continues higher tomorrow, LEI might just get another wave higher here. So I want to keep my eyes on that one. TMST, again, I like to stick with things that had a really nice intraday move in the past few days. TMST went from 380 all the way to 565 in one day, actually just in about an hour. That's a huge move. Then today kind of grinded higher most of the day. So this one's interesting, all right? You've got this big move, gave some of it back, and then today closed near its highs. So it's certainly interesting over today's high. If it gets through 5, might revisit the high of that one spike from the day before that. So I want to watch TMST. Again, I don't know how the market's going to open tomorrow, so it's not like I'm going to jump into any of these. I got to make sure and watch the market. Along with keeping with my theme of recent low float big movers, I definitely want to watch BSI. Had a really nice day and a half move before selling off, then 2 days lower, switching to 15-minute candles. So after its high a few sessions ago, then the next day put in its high in the opening 15 minutes, and then also today put in its high in the opening 15 minutes, but straight sideways most of the day. So what I'd like to see is a narrow range for the first hour and then an upside break. So again, or any number of things, but that's one thing I'd really like to see. Let's have BSI on watch, and then also another recent high flyer, CDRB. I don't know if a high flyer might not be the right term, but it went to 579 in the morning after closing the day before at 217. So there's a big move. Now you're 2 days lower. Again, I like to look at 15-minute candles. And after the big move, the next day never broke its 15-minute high, and also today never broke its 15-minute high. Nice support around 240. So this is another one just like BSI. It's worth having on watch. I'm not in love with this list. Now, the reason it's such a short list is because just about everything, just about everything has a a nice green candle today. And HTC. I'm just looking at some that I had on recent watch. NHTC. Actually, that's not a great example. PLAY was one I had on watch. You can just look at what are the recent, like GoPro. Just about everything. Apple. You can see all the reversals. So everything near recent lows, and then nice reversals today. TSLA. Bottoming tail. So there's a lot of stocks. I'm kind of being random here, but a lot of stocks with bottoming tails, and so a ton of charts look the same. All right. If the market catches another day rally, we might catch a really nice gap play tomorrow, right? Or any one of these that I've listed might give a nice trade. So what I'm going to do in the morning is focus on the gap plays. As long as the market's not gapping way down again or something, then I'm going to be kind of bullish tomorrow for a follow through on today's bounce. Which is a good scenario for potential gap plays tomorrow. So we'll be doing our scans in the pre-market like we always do. Hopefully find some decent setups. And, again, I'm only going to work the first hour, so I'd love to make my daily goal in the first hour. So be hyper-focused on gappers. And then this list that I just put out, once the gap play window, the opening 15 minutes is over, I kind of flip over to the nightly list and see if I can't catch a nice setup in those two, all right? And then once the first couple hours are over, just like any day, for me, it's time to scale way back, whether I'm in the room or not, either whether I'm trading or not. It's time to scale way back after the first couple hours, because that is the important window when all the money, I don't want to say easy money, but when it's the easiest money to make. Day trading's never easy, but that first couple hours is when you really got to focus, all right? Babbled long enough, guys. Talk to you tomorrow.